everybody, my next guest is a lifelong public servant who is seeking to be elected to Brookhaven Highway Superintendent. He is also an actor and a comedic actor and is performed in the Knock 'em Dead comedy series. And here he is, folks, the one and only Mike Kaplan. Michael, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm so stoked to talk to you, man, because I know you're running for superintendent of the highways out here in Brookhaven. I'm a Brookhaven resident. I'm out here in Manorville, so I know how these roads are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And now with like less than 100 days until the big election, how's everything going in your camp right now?
It's going very well. And as you know, I mean, I could talk to you for hours upon hours about the state of Brookhaven itself. But you drive the roads in Brookhaven, and it has to change. There has to be a shift and change on how just the roads. I can't talk about town supervisor. That's above my pay grade, but all things considered, highway is I've been doing it since 1985, and if you don't mind, I'll tell you really quickly. I retired from Huntington Highway about 3 years ago, and I'm a single guy, so I said, let me get involved in local Democrats, this, that, and the other, and but with that said, the Democratic Party, I don't consider myself a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a public servant, Don.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and the politicians here in Brookhaven have forgotten really what it's like to be a true public servant.
Right.
And a public servant is, I'm serving you, Don. You're helping. You're in a big way paying my salary if I was a Brookhaven employee. So when I got involved, and the president of the Brookhaven Dems saw my resume, he said, you have to run. You have to run. The roads are horrible. And I said, well, the guy that's there now is going to be very difficult to beat.
Yeah, that's
And
Daniel
Daniel
Lasquadro.
Quadro.
Yeah.
So I said, let me think about it. So what I did was I started doing a lot of homework by driving the roads myself. And I drove them for months. And little by little, I started getting, to be honest with you, I started getting very angry. And, it's been my life's work. That was my job for 30 years, is working on the roads and plowing roads. And I mean, every storm cleanups, plowing operations, Sandy.
Yeah.
People don't, a lot of people don't know what's involved in highway. They look at potholes. I mean, the pothole problem in this town is horrible. And I'm not going to sit here and badmouth people, because that's just not my style, Don.
Right.
But I just feel I could do a lot better. And
Very cool.
and yes. So you could ask me any questions. The campaign's going really well. I'm out just about every day for the past 6 weeks, knocking on doors, Don.
Yeah, I've seen videos and pictures of you all over the place. The videos of you on different roadways, kind of pointing out things that are wrong or not kept properly, and all these types of things, really kind of bringing awareness to what needs to be fixed, and what Daniel Lasquatro might have overlooked in his time. He's been superintendent for quite a while, I believe, right?
Yes.
So he once you get comfortable in your position, you sometimes you could lose sight of what's important, or lose sight of no pun intended, but lose sight of the road ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's what, I was reading up, there's 3,500 lane miles of roadway within the town of Brookhaven to look after. You're a guy that's been doing this, like you said, since '85. What can you do differently than Lasquatro's been doing? Like, what's your like if you get the job, what's your first order of business?
First order of business is I'm going to implement a 72-hour policy. And what that means is, and the reason why I'm doing this is I've spoken to so many residents who tell me I contacted Highway and they never get back to me. So my first day on the job will be a 72-hour policy. So Don, say you have an issue, a highway related issue. As soon as your phone call or email is logged into Highway, the clock is ticking. So within 72 hours, you will get an email or a phone call or some sort of correspondence communication from Highway addressing your concern and scheduling an inspection and scheduling how it's going to be repaired. I
Nice.
know, I know it's a big town. It is a big town, but the key is big town. You have to have a small town mentality, and I've done it in Islip. I did it in Huntington, and you have to take one road at a time, one resident at a time.
Right.
So, on to your next question, please.
No, that's great. And now, so with something like the highway, like let's say the LIE, um, where like so I guess you only are responsible for a certain portion of the LIE.
Actually, no, that's all on the state.
Okay.
But with that said, Don, that's actually a very important question. There's very little to no communication between the Brookhaven, the local municipality, the state roads, and the county roads. So you're talking about the state DOT and the county DOT. I would be in constant communication with them because so many residents, when I knock on their door, they say, well, you got to fix the LIE. And I said, I'm very sorry, ma'am or sir, but that is a state road. And I mean, I could sit here and tell you why it's always in shambles, just because of the mere science of how they pave the expressway. It just doesn't work the way they do it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to bore you with the science behind asphalt right now.
But
Right
that's what's
now,
good is that you know what's good is that you know the science behind the asphalt. You've done the job. You know, I think and I don't know, what any of the other candidates for this position have, but what we know about you is that you've done this and you have what like close to 30 years experience in this
yeah,
field. So you've
yeah.
done it all. You've done the road sweeping. You fix potholes. You know what it takes to put asphalt down on the streets. Um,
Mhm.
and so when it comes to the roads and the potholes, and you say it's like a paving issue, um, is there a way to maintain the roads for longer? Because it feels like some roads get fixed and then within a year or so, the same potholes reemerge, or is there is there a perfect way to fix the roads, like a permanent way, or is it always this kind of just because of you know the way it is?
There is a perfect way to rehabilitate a road. Uh, Doing it the right way, obviously, paving and the nature of our economy, it's very expensive to pave a road properly. What normally happens is that they will remove 2 inches of the old asphalt and replace it. Okay. Why roads fail after 5 or 10 years is because they're not inspected properly. A roadway with lateral cracking, alligated cracking, so many cracking, so many defects in the road. You have to look at what's underneath the asphalt. So sometimes you have to fix the base of the road, because when we started paving roads in the late 80s, early 90s, they were paved to last 20 to 30 years.
Right. Yeah.
The way it's done now, just it's called a mill and pave. You're lucky if you get 12 or 15 years out of it. And that also depends 12, 15 years on the volume of traffic on the road. Depends on how many snowstorms we get. But if a road is paved properly, it should last 25 years. Yes.
That would be awesome. And that's the potholes are mainly caused during the snowstorms and the plows and things like that, right? That's how they kind of get chipped up and then ultimately created into a pothole. Is that right? Or
There's a combination of reasons. There's a combination of reasons why potholes occur. Plowing the roads, the sand salt, because sand salt, and that's another thing I can get into road sweeping. The sand salt actually, but you think of it like this: when they put sand and salt down on the roadway in the wintertime and cars drive over it, just think as a piece of sandpaper sanding a piece of wood.
right,
And
yeah.
that's why the sand salt has to be removed as soon as possible. So it's potholes occur because of plowing, sand salt volume of traffic, but mainly how the road is built. If the road is built the correct way, you will have very little or no potholes on them. That's an absolute fact.
Wow. Yeah. So that's what we gotta do with these 3,500 lanes of roadway here. And that's a tall order,
It
but
is.
now so taking this on something like this now, do you go like, I know it's the overall the town of Brookhaven, but there's all these little towns inside. Do you going town by town, or how do you assess it as a whole?
Well, Dan LaSquadra, I don't know what his paving program consists of. All I can tell you is what I would do. I would have a team. Well, first of all, the team consists of all the area foremen. Okay, there's an area foreman in each quadrant of the town, and they would give a list to the superintendent and the deputy superintendent of the roads that they know are in dire need. Okay, and then it would be up to me to decide budgeting wise and the severity of the roads, what roads get done this year and maybe next year. Um, I've seen roads that are 8 to 10 years past their lifespan, and Don, that's unacceptable. I understand there's a big town. It costs a lot of money to pave roads, but I'm going to give you a little example. It's public knowledge that this town spends about $15 million a year in paving.
Right.
Now, you said around 3,000 miles of roadway. Just to give you a little comparison, Islip, the town of Islip has 1,200 miles of road, a third, but they're spending the same amount of money in paving. So what I would do, and it's one of my campaign stances, is that day one, I will try to double the budget of paving. Okay. In my estimate, what I see is there's about $100 million that to do, if I wanted to do it all in one shot, it would be about $100 million in paving. Well, what people don't realize is that there's infrastructure money on the state and federal level that is just sitting there. And all you have to do is ask for it. And you have to add, just by grants and
Nice. So that wouldn't affect tax dollars or increase.
no, because I don't know if you've ever looked at your tax bill, Don. If you go towards the bottom, there'll be a highway sand salt fund, and
Right.
then a general highway fund. And the average homeowner is around $300 to $400 every 6 months.
Right. Right.
So no, I would never raise the residents' taxes. You're paying my salary.
Right.
No.
Right. Right. No, I mean, I think this is and this is the first time you ever ran for office like this, right?
It sure is. I've campaigned. I directly worked for the superintendent of highways in Huntington. So I was on his campaign team while he ran, and he was the superintendent, William Norton, for 27 years. That's how successful he was.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, this is the first time I'm actually technically exactly running for an elected position.
Very
And
cool.
but I always correct people. I am not a politician. A politician to me, Don, is a dirty word, because public service is an honor and a privilege,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't know if you know this, but I spent 10 years in the Army,
Nice.
with two.
Thank you for your service, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
With two combat deployments. So public service, you want to call it a calling? Thank God I wasn't. Thank God I didn't have a calling to become a priest, right? But
I think what like you talk about, like, the political side of it. And yeah, I don't think when it comes to certain these types of jobs, these public service jobs, that there is a Republican way or a Democratic way to handle it. I just think there is a right way and a wrong way, or different ways of doing it, but it should never be politicized in that sense. So I don't know if you have to run like legally by a party affiliation, or if that matters.
well, it. I just happen to be a registered Democrat, Don, and all I could speak of is on highway matters.
Right.
The current superintendent he has and again, I really don't want to talk badly about anyone, but he has politicized highway, and the leader of highway should absolutely not be a politician. It should be a public servant who knows how to fill a pothole, plow a road.
Exactly.
The highway employees. I was a highway employee for so long. They're the first line of defense that the residents are seeing every day. They're out there every day plowing and on a hot box, in 90-degree weather, filling potholes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. How does he politicize the roads? How does he do that?
That's a great question, and I have a great answer for you. Okay, now, as you know, when you campaign for something, the biggest thing about campaign is you have to raise money.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in my mind, in my naive mind, I'm thinking, I know all the paving contractors in Brookhaven because I've worked with them in Islip and Huntington. I know them on a first name basis.
Right.
Now, this is the issue. This is what is very upsetting to me. I have reached out to all of them, and they won't even talk to me on the telephone.
Wow.
Because they're such big donors to Dan LaSquadro. They're afraid that Dan LaSquadro is going to see that they donated to me. And I've had a relationship with these people for years.
Wow. Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
that's the politics behind it.
Is LaQuadro, LaSquadro, is he a Republican?
He's a Republican, yes. And as you know, it's been heavily Republican for over 20 years. And, I'm not going to speak about Republicans or Democrats, but one party rule in a township, over time, the town starts to become in state of decay. You need a balance. Like right now, there's only one Democrat that's on the town board out of 6 districts. It has to be 50-50. Listen, Don, I tell you, I could just consider myself an American, a patriot, and I want to work with the Republicans. I think the Republicans and the Democrats should work together because
I agree.
think about what we want to do. We want to live in a beautiful town here. How many people are leaving this island,
Right.
because it's not taken care of properly. And
Oh, that's a great point. That's a great point. I do think we need to all work together on both sides of the fence, and independents and everybody, because it's all a common goal, especially when it comes to the public service part of it, the roadways and the highways and all those types of things. We literally all drive on them. It's non-biased. it's
non-biased.
Your car is gonna get damaged if it hits a pothole, regardless of your affiliations.
Don, I don't know if you know Old Town Road, the main highway department office is on Old Town Road. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to knock on every door on Old Town. Old Town Road is in horrible, horrible shape
Right.
between Middle Country Road and 347.
Right.
So I knocked on a door, and I'm just saying this just because I'm making a point. Uh, I walked up to a door that had a Trump flag in front of it. Uh, it doesn't matter to me. So I knocked on the door, and the guy and the gentleman said, "Oh, you're a Democrat. Goodbye." No, I said, "Well, just a second." I said, I'm just going to point to the road. So I pointed to the road, and I said, "Has it worked?"
Right. Right.
We keep on electing the same people, but look at the state of your road. And by the end of the conversation, a strict conservative said, "You know what? You have my vote."
Yeah, there you go.
Because that's one of the roads that will be one of the first roads that I'll do, because
Nice.
it's terrible, and there's thousands of cars on it every day, and there's accidents all the time. You
Yeah.
know, I want people like, you and your family to be secure and knowing I'm going to go to the grocery store, go to the school, but my roads are safe in this town.
Right.
And there's some roads that it's a crapshoot, Don. You know, I don't know if you know the area, but down the Mastic Shirley area, you
Uh,
know, I don't tell this to a lot of people, but when I was in Iraq, we had staging lanes because I was in charge of convoys, and they were in horrible disrepair. So with interpreters, I was actually able to help them pave these staging lanes. So I love to tell people I paved roads in Iraq, and down in the Mastic Beach Shirley area, there's better roads in Iraq than down there.
Yeah, it can be a little rough area, not just the
It's
roads.
rough, and as a highway guy, I feel awful for those residents down there.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Um,
But yeah,
can I share my views on road sweeping with you, Don?
yeah, of course.
Do you know how important road sweeping is to the longevity of the roads and our environment? Um, all the debris coming off cars, the sand, salt from the winter, it stays on the road. If it's not swept, it washes into our catch basins. Okay, it goes into our recharge basins, and it contaminates our drinking water. Uh, as of right now, from what I understand, there's 4 street sweepers on any given day in a town this size. There should
So
be there should be 10.
wow.
And I drive down these roads, and I see sand and salt, and I see these catch basins that are filled with leaves and garbage, and that contaminates uh, our environment. Number one. Number two, it costs more money to clean when they get that bad.
Right, because now you need that
Oh,
much more manpower to
more
clean it up.
maintenance.
Like I saw the
Yeah.
video you showed. There was a video of you showing a catch basin that was in really bad shape, leaves covering it, garbage, and just
Yes.
yeah, and like I said, for it to get to that point, that's
Yes.
years and years of neglect. You know.
It's years and years of neglect. Every catch basin should be cleaned at least once a year. And I've seen catch basins that it seems like they haven't been cleaned in years. That was actually my cat that wanted to say hello.
Nice.
His name is Highway, actually.
Oh, nice. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
He could be your running mate. You and
He'd be
Highway.
my
Yeah. So I also want to ask you about the traffic lights, the ones that I don't know if there's that many out here in Brookhaven, but the ones that are recording you, like camera light. Do you think those are good or bad? Ultimately for traffic, uh, because I have mixed feelings about that. I don't know if that's in your world, so to speak, if the traffic lights, but
yeah.
I think that sometimes those cameras that are on there force people to brake hard, and then could cause an accident or could cause people speed through them. What's your thoughts on that?
I have many thoughts on it. First, I'd like to say that's part of the traffic safety department, which falls under highway, the traffic lights. But we are not in charge. Like if there's any cameras, no. Um, it's it's a hot button item that you're speaking about. I've heard so many people say they're all for them, but a lot of people are against them. And that is it's one of those politicized items.
Right.
Uh, the only cameras that I'm really in favor of are the high speed roads, like on the expressway. But and I don't know if you've seen them yet, and they're really mainly in construction zones.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, and it's you actually could see like every when I used to drive the LIE, everyone's flying 80 and up, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
Now all of a sudden everyone's doing the speed limit. It's
yeah.
working.
It is working, and being a highway guy that was on the street, boots on the ground, doing projects, it it can be scary because people are always, how Long Islanders are. I have to get where I'm in a rush. I'm in a rush. I'm in a rush. So if you're filling a pothole or putting in drainage or something, why can't you do this at night? Why can't you do this? So I think the cameras on the expressway, they're there for safety reasons, and that's what I'm all about, Don, is safety, just safety of the workers and people driving on the roads themselves. When it comes to red light cameras, if that's what you were referring to,
Yeah, yeah.
um, from what I understand, red light cameras are only in intersections where a death has occurred.
Okay,
Uh, that I learned in a defensive driving class. Um,
that makes sense.
it does make sense, and you do see a lot of cars very hesitant. It does sometimes make it a little hazardous when people know there's a red light camera in that intersection, because if it turns yellow, they start slamming on brakes, and the people in back of them, because 90% of Long Islanders are tailgaters,
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, you see so many accidents. Again, that's a political realmed item. I'm not into politics. I am not a politician. I'm going to leave that up to the governor and the state DOT. But whatever, I'm in favor of anything that makes the roads safer.
That's awesome.
If that answers your question, Don.
Yeah, no, I love everything that you're saying as a resident here at Brookhaven and driving the roads all the time. Yeah, I'm definitely I think it's time for some fresh bloods and new eyes on it. Your videos that you like, I keep talking about really kind of win me over because I could see that you are passionate. You know what you're talking about, and you know what you're looking for, and you're awakening parts of the roadways that I didn't ever thought of, like the catch basins and things. I'm like, yeah, man, this guy's right. So I'm definitely Team Kaplan. But I wanted to know too, when it comes to naming the streets, um, can you get a road named after me? Is that possible?
Yeah. That's a great question. And for years, and for 30 years in working for local municipalities, it's one of those great mysteries how they come up with these names. I have no idea. I'm very confident in what I know, and I'm very confident as to what I don't know.
Right.
It comes from like the town halls. Oh, and the developers. Oh, we're going to name this road, Don Sill Road,
Right.
and and I have no idea. You would probably have to be die in a blaze of glory of some kind and some sort of hero to have a road named after you. But I will tell you, on a serious note, I'm such a hardcore public servant. I want a road named after me when I'm dead and gone, and that's what I want people to know.
Yeah.
And the thousands of residents that I've already spoken to, Don, Not one of them has said, not one, not one of them has said, "Oh, the roads are in good shape." Nope.
Right.
Every single resident says, "Yes, the roads are in." And like you said, it needs fresh eyes. It just needs fresh eyes. It needs that's all.
Yeah. And I think and not only fresh eyes, it needs that kind of passion that you're bringing to it. That also it needs somebody that wants to make a difference, and is passionate about it. And I feel that you embody that right now. So kudos to you. And when is the voting? It's in November. What's the
November 7th.
November
Yeah.
7th? So everybody go out, I'm not going to tell you how to vote, but you heard it here first. Michael Kaplan. uh um and again, we'll see. Maybe one day we'll all have our own street names after all of us.
Absolutely. Don, oh, by the way, I want to add something because of my comedic background with Tony, and you and I haven't worked together, but with Tony, I've known Tony, oh my God, almost 30 years already.
Great guy.
When I do, yeah, he's an unbelievable person. I've been doing my fundraisers, and when I publicly speak, I feel, I'm really very good at improv, and I add comedy into my speeches because, and I have no problem saying this. You go to political fundraisers and, you're sitting there with a drink and it's boring. It's boring. So I always add humor. I always point out people, are you falling asleep? No, you better listen to this because it has to do with your road. I even a woman that was running for town clerk like 4 months ago. She was in the back row of this little auditorium I was speaking at. I said, "Hey, Lisa, are you falling asleep back there?" But she was on her phone. And I'm like, come on, I'm talking about important stuff here.
Right.
I'm actually having a fundraiser at McGuire's in September.
Ah,
And
very cool.
Tony's going to be the host. And I don't know, I'm sure you know Fat Jay, right?
Oh yeah, I love Fat Jay.
Yeah, he's going to perform for me. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll be there for sure.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah,
And
McGuire's
when
is
I
McGuire's is town of Brookhaven, right? Is that town? Would that?
actually town of Brookhaven is McGuire's is in Islip.
Oh, that's
I'm
considered
gonna,
isolate.
but I'm gonna have some Islip people that are running in Islip there as well.
Ah,
So you can
very
speak
cool.
to all of us.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
And I wanted to have it at a comedy club because I want to do something different as a fundraiser. You go to a fundraiser, okay, you could listen to the candidates, but you could have some laughs.
Yeah.
You have to be entertained, and
And you have
you
to
know,
have fun while you're doing it. And
you
that
have to have fun.
and if you can make the roadways fun to talk about, that's a feat in and of itself as well. Because it's an important thing, but something that we don't all. I think it's such an important thing, but something we all take for granted, and we don't understand the work that goes into it. And I think that too, to bring light of that and have some fun with that too goes a long way. And yeah, I think with Fat Jay and Tony and whoever else might be on the bill, that's going to be a lot of fun. McGuire's in September. What?
September 21st.
September 21st. Mark that on the calendar, but that's going to be a
Yeah.
good one right there, McGuire's.
Yeah, I just got the confirmation yesterday from governors. Yeah.
That's outstanding.
I'm really looking forward to that one. Yes.
Very cool. Michael Kaplan, thank you so much for everybody. Check him out. He on September 21st. He'll be there answering questions and also a night of comedy at McGuire's Comedy Club. Also, November 7th, the big vote. He's running for the Brookhaven Highway Superintendent. So I think it's good if you see him out and about, ask him. You're happy to answer any questions people might have. So yeah, so Michael, any final comments? Where could people find you,
Yeah,
follow you, and all that stuff?
yeah, absolutely. Feel free, Kaplan for Highway at gmail.com. If you have any roadway concerns, drainage concerns, let me know. I'll come and talk to you about it, and I'll help you shape a letter or a phone call, how to direct it towards towards the highway department. On Facebook, Kaplan for Highway, Instagram, Kaplan for Highway. And yeah, I could use any and all support because it has to change. And I'm charging real hard because I want to change this town. I really want to change the optics of this town. And right now, a lot of it's really ugly, Don.
Right on, man. Yeah, I know. I drive those roads every day. Um,
Mm.
I think we need somebody with your kind of passion and enthusiasm for the roadways. And like we said, fresh eyes would be an amazing thing. And you got over 30 years experience working these roadways here on Long Island. You've even paved Iraqi roads when you were in the
Yeah,
military. So nobody
yeah.
knows roads better than you.
No.
So thanks for all you do. We'll see you at the polls. I'll see you on September 21st for sure. And
Awesome. That'd be
and
great.
yeah, man. Thank you so much. Michael Kaplan, everybody.